This video is sponsored by Squarespace. I'm a skeptic at heart. Complimentary samples, open bar, free hugs. What's the catch?
Nothing is free.
And that's especially true for anything spiritual. Crystals, fortune tellers, tarot cards, horoscopes, voodoo, astrology, and sage sticks. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll burn sage because it smells good. I just don't think it contains the spirit of my dead relatives. Now, if it helps you to practice any of these things, that's great. I'm certainly not going to get in your way, but I'm just not buying it. And so when I heard about this thing called breathwork years ago, I filed it away with the rest of these spiritual practices. But I'm more curious than I am skeptic, and I don't need a peer-reviewed article to tell me that coconut donuts are delicious, so I decided to dive right in and give this whole breathwork thing a shot. But I had to answer one question first. What the hell is breathwork? So after some research, I found out that at its core, breathwork is an active meditation. While doing it, you're taking conscious control of your breath. There are different breathing patterns, but most of them are linked to a spiritual practice. People might be drawn to it to simply de-stress, but what I found is that more often than not, teachers and practitioners do it for the supposed spiritual breakthroughs, feelings of euphoria, joy, love, and gratitude. Those who have tried it have even claimed to have psychedelic, drug-like experiences. And many breathwork teachers will tell you that all of these experiences mean something. Whether it's repressed emotion, things that you haven't dealt with and looked into, things that you're just holding back and hiding from. These things will come up when you do this active breathwork meditation. I'm a skeptic going into this, but I'm also open-minded, so it's time to try this out for myself. And to get started, I'm going all in and doing something I've never done before. So I'm in Joshua Tree right now for my first ever breathwork session, as well as my first ever retreat. I'm nervous. I'm a little bit excited. I have no idea what to expect. And the person that's guiding me and the rest of the group through breathwork happens to be my sister. My sister has been a breathwork teacher for the past 5 years. She's the one that first told me about it. She's super into spiritual stuff, and as you know, I'm super not. So we've obviously had a lot of conversations about spirituality and all things I like to umbrella under the term woo-woo.
Oh, okay, we're going there, yeah.
Yeah, and I know that you don't love the term woo-woo. You know, for me, it's like anything that's not necessarily rooted or grounded in science.
Right. To me, this work is essential for our society as a whole. Everybody's in a lot of pain. We have an epidemic of depression and anxiety, and this work is really powerful for helping people process things that are stuck in their bodies and make sense of their lives and understand themselves better. So to me, it's kind of the opposite of the ideas that people have about what is considered woo-woo.
So this weekend retreat is about as far from my comfort zone as I'd like to be, but it was relaxing to get away from the daily stresses of the city, to read, drink coffee, and enjoy the quiet. But breathwork, as I was about to learn, is serious work. Dude, my palms are sweating right now.
Why?
I'm like nervous.
You're thinking about what's going to happen.
Well, I'm like, I don't want to feel emotions. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to.
I know.
See, because I've heard you say that people like sometimes like cry during these things. And like, I don't want to cry in front of people. Like, I really don't want to.
Well,
honestly.
The thing I will say about that, one, nobody really wants to cry in front of anybody. Yeah. That's a human experience. But you're not going to be crying in front of people. You'll most likely be crying with other people. Everyone's on their own journey. Most people are really not paying attention to you, you know, and you'll notice that too when you start to breathe. Like, you're very focused on what's going on in your own body.
Okay, I guess this is what I signed up for. First, I'm told a warning will be appropriate for those considering breathwork themselves. Do not attempt breathwork while driving or in any body of water. There's a chance that you could pass out, and that would be very dangerous. For those who have medical conditions, please speak with your doctor before attempting.
So I'm going to teach you the breathing pattern. You can just take one hand and place it on your low belly. Take your other hand and put it against your heart. And we're going to breathe into the belly, into the heart, and then exhale. So you can match my pace and we'll do a couple rounds together. So belly, heart, exhale.
As I lied down for my first breathwork experience, I tried to quiet my inner critic and fully embrace the experience. So we began. 2 breaths in, 1 breath out. 2 breaths in, 1 breath out. And on and on and on. With each cycle, the critic in my head got smaller and smaller. What am I even doing here? Oh my God, this is so scary. 10 minutes into my first breathwork meditation, and I started to feel the effects. A little lightheaded, my limbs grew cold, then my lips. Getting lost in thought was difficult, and I was forced into the present moment. At one point, Michelle had us yell as loud as we possibly could, so I yelled. And then she had us repeat these mantras as a group. It felt a little bit silly, but that critic in my voice was getting so small at that point that I rolled with it. And then there was one moment in particular that hit me. My wife Natalie happened to be there as well for the retreat. She was with us in the tent breathing. And she missed a beat as everyone said the mantra. She said it after everyone else. And something about hearing her voice soloed out in the group, knowing that she'd been recently going through some difficult times, it just wrecked me. It was what I can only describe as a spiritual experience. I deeply understood in that moment that my happiness didn't matter if she wasn't happy. And that feeling stretched to everyone I knew. If those closest to me weren't happy, then what did my own happiness matter? We continued breathing for a few minutes, and eventually we stopped and rested in the quiet.
Well, that was weird. I did not expect to get as emotional as I did, or to experience what I did. It was definitely unlike anything I have ever done before. The first thing that I said when we finished up the first breathwork session was, "This is better than any drug I've ever taken." I haven't taken a lot of drugs. I haven't experimented a whole lot with that, but there was a way to kind of elevate your experience and be on a different plane and in a different state of mind while also still being entirely present. And that's something that I have never experienced before.
So after the retreat, I was a believer in breathwork. I wouldn't say that I was any more spiritual, but I still saw the powerful benefits of this practice and was interested in seeing where it could go.
Okay, guys, this is the creepiest thing ever, but I was going through the footage from the retreat, and I was just completely taken back and a little bit freaked out by what I saw. There was footage of me with my hands contorted in a way that I do not remember feeling or experiencing at all. They were like curled up like lobster claws.
After some research, I found the medical term for these involuntary muscle contractions were called tetany. There are a number of reasons why this might happen. Breathwork teachers tell me that it's because of repressed emotions I'm holding back. The scientific explanation is that during breathwork, you are lowering carbon monoxide levels in your body, which leads to hyperventilation. As far as I can tell, breathwork hasn't been put to the test in enough studies to fully understand the causes of tetany, and especially the causes of the psychedelic experiences that occur. So each day I set aside 15 to 30 minutes, usually after I finished up work at night, to lie down and breathe. I opened up my sister's guided breathwork audio and pressed play. For the next couple weeks, I pressed forward, following these guides, listening to music, repeating mantras, and occasionally screaming into a pillow. Thankfully, my neighbors didn't call the police. But a couple weeks into the practice, I was facing some serious roadblocks.
So I just got finished with my breathwork session, closing in on 15 days of breath work, and what I can say that I've learned as of right now is that breath work is really fucking hard. It's really difficult. I haven't quite had the same transformative experience that I had over the retreat. Like 10 minutes into a meditation, I'll just give up because it is truly exhausting. And I think one thing I've been doing too is I've been holding my breath work off till the end of the day, just because the morning, I just like to get, through my morning routine and right to my day, and adding on a 30-minute meditation or breath work session. It's kind of a lot to do first thing, especially like right now because I'm pretty busy. Yeah, I feel like I'm coming up against a wall.
Yeah, that's super
super common. So, you have this like great experience on retreat, and then you come home and it like feels so great, and we're expecting it to be this like, awesome experience that we've had. So it's super normal. It's also really normal to bump up against that resistance, like during your session, before like the 10-12 minute mark. The mind will start to let go around 7 or 8 minutes, and so like the beginning portion can be really challenging. So my biggest suggestion is to recognize that it's resistance, and it's really the most important time to continue breathing. Otherwise, you're not really allowing yourself to go into what it is that is being avoided, and typically that's going to be some emotion.
So I got back to work, trying to make time earlier in the day to breathe, and that did help quite a bit. Though I never really got back to the same experience I had the first time around in the desert retreat, but I still had some powerful experiences. So I just finished about 13 minutes of breath work. This is really the best part of breath work. It's not active breathing. It's not like that intense breathing in and out. It's that moment of stillness and quiet when you finish breath work, when you can just enjoy the moment. So I have to admit, still, after doing this for weeks, it's so strange to me that you can have a drug-like high. I know I've said that at this point probably a couple times in this video, but just the idea that without any external medication, without any weed or alcohol, you can have these effects that, in my experience, are a lot more enjoyable just by breathing. Like, talk about the most simple thing in the world, just breathing in and breathing out. It's something that we do every day and we never think about it, and yet there's a whole lot of potential to change your life through your breath. That, to me, is really the coolest part about this whole practice. So at the end of 30 days, I found breathwork to be an incredibly powerful practice, even more so than typical meditation. It really brought me out of my head and got me to relax and detach from all the stress and the daily anxieties that I have in a way that typical meditation has never done for me. As it turns out, you don't need to believe in voodoo, witches, or astrology to get something out of breathwork. Alrighty, so as my 30 days of breathwork come to an end, I imagine a lot of you guys want to start your own journey and try breathwork for the first time. So I wanted to give you guys some parting advice, but I didn't think that I'd be the right person to give it. So I brought a friend. It's Michelle.
Hi.
Hey, she's back. All right, Michelle, if people are going to do breathwork for the first time, what should they expect?
The biggest thing if you're practicing for the first time is to make sure you feel really safe and comfortable. So if that means that you need to hire a facilitator or work with a facilitator in a group capacity, go ahead and do that. There's a lot of practitioners working in major cities around the world. If you want to do it on your own, you totally can. You can use a guided breathwork meditation either on my YouTube channel.
Check it out!
Or on my website. Make sure you have a lot of privacy. The biggest thing is to just go in with an open mind and try not to have that much expectation, especially after seeing something like Matt having this camera up in his face and kind of seeing what's going on in his body and hearing about his experience. That's his journey, his experience. You might have something similar, you might not. And so just let it be what it is for you.
But let's be honest, my experience was the right experience.
Of course.
Thanks, Michelle. See you next time. I don't know why I did that with my hands. I actually did the claw thing again. It's my new sign out. Like, see you guys.
It's not permanent. Your hands will not stay that way. It's not permanent.
All right. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks.
As you guys know, I like to keep things simple, and I do not like wasting my time. So that's why I use Squarespace. I've used Squarespace to build every website I've created over the past 5 years, and I cannot recommend them enough. I've used it to build my personal website, my podcast website, as well as my favorite website, GetTheRockOnMattsPodcast.com. As you can see, their templates are beautiful and simple, and they make it really easy to get your message across in a concise way. Also, by the way, if you happen to be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I actually left a contact form on this website, so feel free to, message me back on that. If you're not Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, please don't use that form. Everybody keeps using it, and it just keeps cluttering my inbox. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/MattDiavella to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. If you go check them out and use that code that I just gave you, it's gonna help to support this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.